It's not possible to overstate the power of relationships. We just touched on a few things here.
I always wanted to create a place that I want to work, right? I spent a ton of time there.
Hi, everyone. It's Mandy with Answer Force. We are starting the next episode with the masterclass, CNR masterclass on power skills. And today I have Kelley Dolan with me. Kelley has been in the industry for 22 amazing years. So we get to have a really great conversation on power skills. So Kelley, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you for your introduction.
Awesome. Thank you, Mandy. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, as Mandy mentioned, 22 years in the industry. I started when I was 4. But no, a great chunk of time. Most of my time was at a small regional company out of New York City called Maxons, and I grew up in the business there. I learned everything. I did every part of the business at one point or another. But really, most of my time there was focused on HR leadership and sort of our people. Like my job was all about our people and making us the best place to work ever. When we were acquired a couple years ago by First On Site, I started working on similar projects for First On Site. So I jumped over and to the corporate side and started doing some HR projects and culture projects, and then eventually led their global marketing team for just over a year, and was truly enjoying the First On Site team is great, amazing people, just great process there. But got the chance to come over to the Violand side, which has kind of been my background dream job for a while that I thought I was never going to be ready to do. When it came up this time, it was too good to pass up. So I started at the end of January here, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Congratulations, Kelley. And in addition, Kelley didn't mention, but Kelley
Oh yeah.
leads the planning, is very involved in the RIA and currently is a part of the leadership for the planning committee, which I happen to gladly be a part of. But Kelley, I mean, you are amazing. You have held you've inspired me when I joined the planning committee several years ago to become a member because of just how amazing you've been able to really cultivate the type of events that we've had, at least since I've been a part, and that's been since 2022. So you are involved in a lot of amazing things in the restoration industry.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to take full credit for the event, but it really has been massive group efforts. The board has gone through so much growth and change and what they want to see at these events. And our people give us good feedback about what works and doesn't work, right? So every year it's like we learn a little bit more from the year before. This year again, we have record-breaking attendance already. So it's not so I don't know where we're going to put everyone. Like we're worried about fire codes, but yeah, it's been an honor. So I'm very, very lucky that I tripped into that role and loved it and enjoyed it and have been able to grow so much with it.
That's awesome. So kind of going into that, that leads us into really what is your power skill, Kelley?
Ooh, you know, whenever somebody asks me this, I always sort of say responsibility, which is the most boring word I think possible. But I think for me it connects to a lot of things. It connects to my own work ethic, right? And sort of the standard I hold everyone to is if I say something, I mean it and I'm going to do it. And then at the same time, like a responsibility towards every part of a business. So is this the most efficient way to do this? Does this bring us the most joy? Is this the most pleasure we can get out of this? A responsibility to owners to say, are you doing the things you want to be doing? Is your staff doing the things they want to be doing? So sort of taking that concept and applying it to every piece of what I do is I think what my skill is. It's funny. My husband and I, he's an efficiency master, and when we travel in airports, we both get a little like, oh my God, if we could just do it this one tweak, this line would move this much faster, right? So it's even like not in your normal everyday lives, but when you're out in the world, like, oh, if we just did this, it would go faster. And I've sort of done that my whole life of like, this could be a better process if. So I think that piece of responsibility in what you say and in your actions and what you do is probably what I would say my power skill.
All right. So with responsibility, as you said, being your power skill, walk us through that journey of when you started in the industry to be able to grow and hone that skill.
I think it it is a behavior we all have in this industry because it is emergency based, right? Like
Yes.
I never thought I would work in this industry. It wasn't a thing I knew about. But once I found it, I was like, oh, these are my people. This is where I am. This is what I do. Like this emergency response to make a situation better. Man, it's like literally defines my soul. So when I started, I was actually a sales coordinator. So I assisted our sales and marketing team. But I sat with sort of our frontline people who were answering the phones, managing crews, getting to sites, doing all of that. And they could all be busy, they could all be on the phone, they could all step away to a meeting. And I was the next person in line for all those phone calls. So I learned really, really quickly the importance of engaging people in an empathetic and respectful manner, which I'd worked customer service for years. I knew that. But then the speed at which you needed to execute that on, right? And the honesty of, I'm going to call you back in 5 minutes. I start that clock because the
Yes.
person on the other end of this phone is having a situation and it's not fair to keep them waiting. So it's like moment one in this industry. If you're not going to be able to be responsible to the sense of urgency, you're not going to like it here. So I think it starts from there. And then I think as my role grew and as I grew, my sense of responsibility changed a little bit where it became responsible to the business,
Yes.
right? As I became less frontline and more sort of serving my staff, I was more focused on my responsibility to the business. And in my role, I actually had to split that into two concepts of I was responsible to our people and making them happy and creating the best space for them. But I was also responsible to the business and I couldn't just be spending money however I wanted or making
Yes.
bad or dangerous choices for the business. So I had to kind of meld those together and also share. We were very big on transparency in all my roles. So share like, why? You asked me for this. I can't give you that. I can give you this, and here are the reasons why.
Right.
So it as my roles changed over the years and my responsibilities shifted a little bit in who they truly lied to, um, they became greater, but I also had to be better at making sure I clearly understood why so I could explain it to other people. It eliminated those times when you have to just say, I don't know, I just believe it in my gut. Like, no, I
Right.
had to logic that out and make sure somebody else could understand.
And like you said, that is a big responsibility to make sure, because one, you're making sure the information that you're sharing um, is not just intuition, but it's also
Mhm.
based on facts. So it's factually based or factually led, and you're able to then share that, which when I hear responsibility, I it often coincides with trust because
Mm,
being responsible, and that is very big in this industry, being responsible, like how you said in the beginning, being responsible for your clients, making sure that, the calls, you were calling them back when you said you would, that's building trust.
mm,
So making sure that you're staying true to what it is that you are, what expectations you're setting helps build trust. And then you go like you said, you started going more into the business. At that point, now that level of responsibility is building trust with your teams.
mhm.
So I think those two kind of go hand in hand. What do you think?
That's such a good call out. I think you're totally right. And I think I used my sense of action or sense of responsibility to help build trust, right? Everywhere I went, especially with the acquisition with First On Site, I had all new teams, right? Because my
Yeah.
role changed so drastically. I was working with brand new people I'd never met before, whereas I had been at Maxon's for 19 years. I hired half those people. Like I knew all those people so
Mhm.
well. Um, so I really to get ingrained in that new culture and in those new groups, I really had to say, like, how do I support you? How do I help you get your jobs done as we come together as this massive group? And it is the way that people were able to trust that I could do what I was going to say and knew that like, okay, we have this big group project and I'm a valuable member. I'm not just going to show up and be like, hey, and then just back out of that Zoom call as soon as I can. So yeah, I love that call out. I don't know that I ever would have made that connection if you hadn't said that right now. So that brings me a lot of joy.
Yes, I mean, well, that's one thing I do see when being around the industry and learning so much around it about it is the fact that it is one that is heavily rooted in trust, but also the responsibility. It's like the responsibility to the client, the responsibility to your teams, to your business, because you have to make responsible decisions in order to grow the business. So being able to see, however, in those, you're also, like I said, it's trust that's there because the company knew they knew you were responsible. So they could trust you to make those decisions. So like I said,
Right.
it's like it's very interesting how they do go together. And let's just say um, with taking it on to the next level, how do you apply being responsible in this industry? Like how would you apply that to, like, let's just say if a restorer is like, how would I go about building or because like you said, everybody is have we all have levels of responsibility, but to
Mm.
hone in, what are some of the things that you've done to hone in and grow that skill set?
Oh, that's a great question. And I think I'm actively pushing that skill set kind of every day now as I get settled at Violand, right? Part of my training is just being on a lot of calls with clients who, are talking about deep, serious things. And I'm just like, hi, I'm the new person. Um, and I think it shows their trust in Violand, right? That they're like,
Mhm.
okay, come on in, like dive into this conversation with us. So it's a little bit that, but it is um, a lot of listening. And I've done this in a few roles when I've been like, you all don't know me, like tell me what's going on. And I'm a big prep person, so it's like tell me the good, tell me the bad, tell me successes, tell me challenges, tell me what makes you happy at work, tell me what you don't enjoy in your job. Like I would really dig into people. I would treat it as if I was interviewing them for a job, right? In my zone of preparation of wanting to really understand um, the hows and the whys of how their brain is making connections and clicking and how they're feeling. Um, so I do that a lot now where I'm asking questions, not in a way to be like, what? Why are you doing that? But more in a way to be like, help me understand that. I'm curious about that answer. Um, I had a friend while I was at First on Site who I went to him for some advice about how to approach people about a problem. I was like, I'm just going to tell them this. Like, I'm just going to go in and tell them this is what we're doing. And he's like, well, that's an interesting way to approach that.
Wow.
And which was his very nice way of saying, I think you need to rethink that. And he's like, what if you were just curious? So
Mm,
I took that and I said, tell me why. Tell me why you guys are thinking this. And it got us to the place where we were all happy. And it was kind of where I wanted us to land. Like it was the solution I wanted us to be on. And I was able to do it without not only not jeopardizing relationships, but I built great relationships in that one conversation. And if he hadn't redirected me, it would have been a moment where I lost trust. Right.
right,
So
right.
instead, I was able to stay curious and build it. Because what my gut may be of like, why are you doing that? That's crazy. There's probably 20 reasons in that person's head that I need to give them time to share with me.
Right. Exactly. And that active listening is you're speaking about things
Oof.
that are right in my wheelhouse. Like seriously, active listening is definitely something that we coach on heavily at Answer Force, because it's important for people to be heard,
Yeah.
to build that trust. And it's a responsibility on us who are asking the questions and are listening to truly be actively listening to them when they're speaking. So
Yeah.
that is definitely something that um like I said, you're speaking my language. So as we go ahead and get ready to wrap this up, do you have anything else you want to add or anything else you want to discuss before we close it out?
Ooh, no, I mean, just I am so lucky to have found an industry that I've said this a few times this year, and I think I even said it 10 minutes ago, where I found my people. Like I truly have found that I love the group in this in the restoration industry. Like I haven't met somebody yet who I am like running away from. It's the folks in this industry care so much about what they do. They care so much about changing people's lives, about making a difference, by hiring the best staff, about having happy people. Like it is just an industry that cares so much. And I'm so lucky I stumbled into it 20 years ago and have found my home and keep finding amazing groups of people to work with who keep upskilling me with just by being around me. Like just treasure that, value that stuff, and take any chance you can to get to spend time with other folks.
Absolutely love that. That's a great way to end this episode. And I'm so happy you were here to join me today. And I hope to, well, I look forward to seeing you in a couple days at RIA.
Yeah, soon, so soon.
Yes, yes, very soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening in.